Hello, everybody. Scott Golden with the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series and the 1983 version of World Class August as we're moving through, and we're on the 13th of August in 1983 here. Obviously, the entire series starting in the beginning of January 1982 through this point in 1983 here in episodic form. And this is kind of one of those, I wouldn't call it a throwaway show, but there's definitely some matches that are less necessary than others and kind of some that don't fit, whatever have you. The 13th of August is where we are, and Mr. Ebony versus Mike Reed is your opening contest of the 4A, and we do not yet again see Skandar Akbar, so maybe he's left the territory or off doing other things. Not really sure. One thing I don't like about territory wrestling, and it's rare for me to say that I don't like something of this era, but when guys disappear without stipulations on television to tell you that they've disappeared, they just kind of aren't there anymore. And that happened with Bundy earlier this year. Doesn't happen as much with the baby faces, oddly enough. But power moves, including a power clothesline by Mr. Ebony early. And he is here, obviously a heel, willing to cheat and take any advantage he can get whenever he can get it. Big back body drop from him sends his opponent up into the lights, and it is clear that he is not nervous about losses. He uses that tilt-a-whirl spinning head full Nelson that Bobby Lashley could use some spins on that today, but he gets the victory there. And we move into Michael Hayes calling out Fritz Von Erich, says he's basically going to destroy the Von Erich, going to destroy the Von Erich name and the family and all that. He is dismayed, at the very least, by the actions of the Von Erichs and is not a supporter of them at all. We then move to a tag team match, Grand Marquis and the Mongol versus Chris Adams, that is, and Jose Lothario. Interesting that every once in a while you'll see a pairing in a tag match that doesn't follow through. Marquis and Mongol as an example, and again, maybe Akbar's left because we don't see him out here either. Mongol using power. It is the continuation of the Mongol versus Chris Adams feud here. Marquis, though, is able to gain a decided advantage through cheating over Jose Lothario. Tag in, and both teams switch up. Mongol using power with chinlocks and headlocks and the like over Chris Adams. Adams, obviously the speed guy. Maybe I'm actually interested that he never got the World Junior Heavyweight Championship of the National Wrestling Alliance at a point. Maybe he does and I don't know it. But quick tag off and Lothario back in. Lothario brawling with the Mongol, which is a sight to see, just because of the size disparage. But one thing I like about Lothario, and I'm not one to often say this, but he certainly has the ability to brawl with anybody, even if they're double his size. Adams, though, kind of blending the infusion with the Mexican style, the deep Mexican arm drags, and the bipaso, super kicking Grand Marquis to the outside, and it's clear that Adams still has his best days ahead of him by far here, as he moves through. Marquis and Adams square off. Mongol and Lothario square off, all four guys in the ring, so the match breaks down a bit into chaos. The official losing control of the match rapidly during the middle to end portion, but the baby faces do walk away with the victory, which is a good thing for them, and a high knee lift included in that from Chris Adams in order to help gain the victory, but the babyfaces are your victors here this week. They slide out quick and make it happen. And then we move on to the continuation of Buddy Roberts and Iceman King Parsons doing battle yet again. Their feud has gone on since actually before the last Reunion Arena show at the end of spring or so. So their feud continues onward and upward. I guess you'd say onward and upward. And you know, certainly I think the ceiling on Iceman King Parsons is beginning to be found here. You don't necessarily see him with a guy like Terry Gordy. You don't see him in the championship picture, and maybe he was never meant to be. But he is a strong supporter, and the benefit of having a guy that you can trust in the mid card, I think, is proven by a guy like Iceman King Parsons, in that you can always get a good match out of him, or at least a passable one, and the crowds love him, and that's all that really matters. Anyway, he brings the match to a more of a brawling style, strikes and such by him. Of course, his issues with Buddy are legendary, both men cutting pieces of each other's hair. Buddy's still wearing the toupee at this point, and we actually see just complete brawling by Parsons. Referee losing all control in the mid portion of the match, and Parsons almost disqualified, but not quite. The attempted removal of the hairpiece and headguard also is here. And Parsons unable to do that as of yet. Buddy Roberts will cheat to get victories, and does get himself disqualified, or not disqualified, but almost disqualified for sending Parsons over the through the middle rope into the floor. Obviously, over the top is your disqualification point, but that does not occur. Roberts, though, using the ropes as a point of leverage and weaponry, and he's willing to do that whenever, wherever he can, obviously. So, continuation and a roll-up 1, 2, 3 for Parsons to gain what has to be at least a partial upset victory, as he beats him clean. We move on to Michael Hayes and Kerry Von Erich. Single match here. We've seen these before. They're always reasonably good. Von Erich is still moving up the ladder, and Michael Hayes, willing to cheat, willing to do whatever he needs to do to end the nasty Von Erichs. Well, what's interesting is you even see Michael getting some ride time here in this match. So for folks that are, Michael Hayes is just a punch kick guy and wasn't that good, even though it's only 30, 45 seconds. Michael does have the ability to wrestle on the mat, and I think people forget that from time to time because of the way he's portrayed in shoot interviews and the like. I think Michael was one of the better guys to never get a major run in a national company. Of course, by the time companies went national, maybe his body had started to break down. Obviously, they had the issue in '84 where they went in and got inebriated and killed their run in New York. But I don't know. Michael Hayes to me strikes me as a guy who could have been an Intercontinental Champion in the right time frame, late '80s, early '90s. Just a guy that doesn't get his due. But that's my opinion. I mean, really basic match here, pulling Kerry in for headlocks and all that. Not nothing major, but I love when guys can get 2 minutes out of a headlock and keep the crowd. I still think that can be done today, and the proof, I think, is just tightening holds up and maybe changing the holds you use. But I think you can get time out of a hold and not have to do as much with your body, and there's value in that. And, something as simple as a cutoff with a back elbow. Again, Hayes doesn't have to do topes and crazy stuff. They get 10 or 15 minutes out of basic everyday moves, and I think there's value in that process. Hayes is easily frustrated. Kerry spills out to the floor, and Hayes is wanting to get back at it, wanting to cheat if he has to, but not always that way. Hayes brings up the double knee and sends Kerry reeling backwards, thinking he's going to get an easy victory over Kerry, but easy victory and Kerry Von Erich not so for Michael Hayes here. Kerry fights out of again a very basic back chin lock, and the referees have to check on Kerry as there is a kind of a cross-body carry through, and Hayes uses the ropes to gain the victory, and then the Freebirds cause more trouble. That is how we were thought to close the show. However, Kerry able to get out of that at the last minute, but that doesn't stop Michael from keeping going. Kerry does get the victory in the end, but also falls victory to the pile driver, which is why the referees have to intercede. So that is the end of this particular broadcast. We will be back with more of 1983 Summer in Texas right after this.